Hey guys, coldbrew here. Welcome back to another video. I hope you're having a great day. Today we're talking about dungeons. The introduction of the new dungeons, the hard mode of the dungeons, surely brought a new challenge, new rewards. We get the mythical artifacts, right? The chance to get a mythical artifacts is up to 5%, I believe, on hard mode 10 on any of the dungeons. And with the 3x going on right now, I thought to make a video for the dungeon that is coming tomorrow, for Fire Night specifically. The other three dungeons seem to have been basically solved, all right? The Dragon's Lair, there's multiple different teams that actually work now. There's teams that work very, very well. There's teams that work okay, but there is a great variety of champions that you can use. Many think that that's okay, right? You can have lots of different teams. You can have very good teams. You can have very unique champions in there. But when you go over here to the teams of the week, right? You can see a different variety of champions showcased here, which this is what the game should be. A game with 800 or so champions, 779 to be exact, right? Don't want to put in more champions that actually there are in the game. There should be variety. There should be a lot of different teams. There should be the one team that is the best of them all, of course, right? The one that you strive for, the champions you want to go and summon. But there also should be possibilities to make slower teams, okay? And the dragon is a perfect example of this one. Obviously poisons work, but also just straight up damage works as well here with the double Acrisia plus Seer combo. It's dumb, but if it works, it works. Why ignore it? And the same thing goes even for the Ice Golem and the Spider. The Spider, especially since day one, we understood that there's multiple different scenarios where you can use a team, right? The teams of the week, you can see them here. There's even, epics that do the work here. There's a common there. I'm not sure why a common is in there, but there's multiple different scenarios where you can use either HP burns or straight up damage by killing off the small spider. This is the spider links to make things work. And then we have the Ice Golem, where the idea there was basically build teams that have HP burn on and use the HP burn to your advantage in order to apply Destroy Max HP to the ads and also be able to take down the boss, since now the boss is immune to poisons, which was very different than how the boss is on normal. Then we have the problem of the Fire Knight, right? The problem of the Fire Knight exists because on normal, okay, you have different teams that can work, and most of the teams use some sort of terminator control. Like this top team right here is the team I actually use for normal. And then you can see here teams with poisons. These are the more end game teams with crazy champions and gear. And then the kind of scenario where you use the Seer to clear the waves and then a combo of terminator control plus damage to take down the boss. But when Plarium added the hard mode, they were like, screw you guys, we're gonna add something very different on how the Fire Knight Castle is gonna work on hard, and we're gonna make it extremely difficult for you guys, okay? So what is that gonna be? Well, we're gonna add the problem of you won't be able to terminator control anymore the boss unless you have a freeze. So freeze debuffs are nothing unique in the game. We have a lot of champions that can apply freeze. Some can apply it consistently, some not. But if that wasn't just the issue, they've added multiple different things to the Fire Knight, which makes it even more difficult, such as the increasing amount of shields that the boss gets, the fact that the boss also decreases max HP, and also the fact that the Fire Knight hits absolutely like a truck, okay? My champions with awakenings, good gear, good both area affinity bonuses and the normal bonuses, and I still get a lot of hurt on my team. And you have Plarium here going in with their introduction to solutions for this one. And I thought it was extremely funny that they thought to put in these screenshots where they show the solution for the Fire Knight when this is 2 minutes 33 seconds and the boss has taken 0 damage. I guess that's how long it took him to go there. Then this screenshot right here, 7 minutes 28. The boss is still around that amount of health and you haven't done anything on him. So obviously your solutions don't work. And obviously the recommendation of using freeze to terminator control does not work, since freeze only does a 15% terminator control compared to whatever else we used on the normal difficulty. So what do I say? Let's put in some suggestions to make freeze work, right? Pliam, there are ways to make freeze work. I understand it's a problem, and you added so many different things into the Fahrenheit. I get it. I totally get it. It should be the most difficult dungeon of them all. But currently there is no variety in the top teams. Every single one of the top teams right now uses a Cardiel. Yes, this is not a complaint because I don't have Cardiel. If I had him, I would have built a team for it because he provides such a good utility for the insanity that is the Fahrenheit. But I'll give you guys some solutions. And if you guys agree, if you want to comment something more, leave it down below in the comments on how I think we should still use freeze. I think freeze is an absolute cool idea. Not strictly for temperature control. I think going the temperature control route is boring. And that is why on dungeons 21 to 25, Plarium had introduced the reduced temperature control. So from 100% of how your temperature control works, only 50% would actually go through. And I was totally fine with that because, yeah, temperature control is kind of a cheese scenario where you don't let the boss take a turn, and by that you do a lot of damage, and that is how everything works. I totally get how that can be a bad system to follow through with the harder versions. And obviously Plarium is going to add harder and harder dungeons. So if they should introduce a solution, it should be something like this, right? I have 3 possible solutions for you guys to listen to and think with me for a little bit, for a couple of more minutes, right? I'm not going to take the whole day, and hopefully we'll find something that works. So solution number 1, freeze on its own, by the way, does not make sense, like the freeze set. So it's only champions that can apply freeze. Just saying that. The freeze sets for some reason make no sense because you get attacked and then there's a chance to apply it, but that wouldn't work on the boss because his shield will be up when he attacks you and the temperature control doesn't go through. So freeze should change on how things work, how everything works. Wow, my team is almost gonna die. I don't know if Acresia can carry this. Anyway, freeze, my solution number 1, freeze now does more temperature reduction instead of 15%. This is the lazy way to solve this Plarium, okay? This would be the way that it basically makes people to shut up, and they introduce one champion that has a consistent freeze or multiple freezes that can have a good chance to apply them. Let's say 60%, I believe. One of the newer epics that they have added has a really good chance to freeze on his A1 or A2. Something the Blue was the name of the epic. Anyway, what this will introduce us is basically we go back to how we beat normal Fahrenheit. It's okay if you want to build teams like that, where temperature control, the boss, you apply it consistently, and then, well, you take it down by not letting the boss take a turn. You can actually go crazy with damage because you ensure absolute control over the boss. I don't like that way. I don't like that solution. That is definitely the lazy way to do it. That would be if I was a programmer and the amount of programming I know is 0. So that would be my solution with 0 knowledge. Okay. So I would do what makes it make more sense. I would add a 0 to the 15% reduction that the freeze does. So instead of 15%, it does 150%, right? That easy of a solution would be if I was a programmer. Solution number 2, right? Solution number 2 would be, and it's the one that I think is the most interesting. I've wrote all of these down, right? Freeze now applies a debuff on the Fahrenheit. Applies a debuff on the Fahrenheit. On the next hit that the Fahrenheit receives, the boss takes either 5% of its damage, which is, you might think it's a lot, but it's 5%. It's not insane, but it's still quite a lot, and it requires a freeze to be applied on the boss. So enough accuracy and a champion that does apply freeze, or 3 stacks are removed from his shield. So if it's a triple hitting freeze skill and you apply 3 freezes, you remove 9 stacks from the boss's shield. If it's a single hitting one and then the next champion goes in for a hit, he'll reduce it by 3. That is kind of a way to introduce more freeze champions in there. That could also help you reduce the shields exponentially. I still think the 3 stacks, I was thinking about 5 stacks, but maybe that would have been a lot. So removing the shield from 21 to go down by 5 immediately would be a little bit too much maybe, but I don't know, it's 21 stacks and possibly even more as we go to higher difficulties, which we'll eventually have. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. There's no way we won't have higher difficulties. Or this is the same solution. Add a heal when you apply the freeze, so that both heals your team and restores destroyed max HP. And if you have 100% health, then it gives you a shield on top of that. So that will be a way to overheal your team and make it healthy through applying freezes, and in that way survive instead of having something like a Valkyrie, which I do have right now, which helps me with her big shield and the counterattack buff, of course, survive and do a lot more damage, right? So that was the solution number 2, and then the solution number 3, which I didn't think that much, but when a freeze is applied, all allies rush in to attack the Fire Knight. So that would cause basically all freeze champions to become ally attack champions. So like Frack in the Fat, they would have that sort of skill. Instead of the freeze, everybody would rush in and attack. So if you have 2 freeze champions in there, you pretty much drop the shield down immediately, and then you start applying the decrease attack, which is really required on the boss, the decrease speed, then maybe heal reduction through cold heart, which is basically a necessity here because the boss heals, and then you start doing a lot more damage. Or you could do a mixture of all of those. I don't know. Just have 1 champion added to the attack, reduce the stacks by a little bit, do max HP on the boss, but that will be a headache for Plarium to code. I guarantee it. And we all know how bad Plarium is with their coding. That one intern they have is working overtime in both designing the hero's path and then breaking it immediately because it just sucks, and causing a lot of upset in the community. Also programming Artag, and then Artag having 600 speed because he doubles his speed instead of adds on top of his speed, which was, you know, something difficult to consider. But stuff like that. So these are my solutions, guys, for the Fire Knight. I want to see the Fire Knight have multiple different teams that are possible to beat it. Not because I want to be farming, well, I want to be farming mythical. Obviously, I have a team for stage 6, as you guys saw, but I would love to farm stage 10, which would be a 2% more chance to get a mythical. But that is not my point. My point is that a game with 779 champions, exactly, needs to have variety. And this is what Plarium is suffering at the moment. They pigeonhole, they put us in, you know, a path when they make these kind of strategies, which makes it only available for certain teams to work. And as I said at the start of the video, the Dragon, the Spider, even the Fire Knight, we had solutions with different teams and different champions that have that skill in their kit. Like, they wanted to see poisons on the Dragon. We did that. They wanted to see HP burns work, but also not be just the solution. They wanted to see, you know, area of effect damage coming into play, killing of the Spiralings to kill the big spider. And then they also wanted to see HP burn scenarios for the Ice Golem to make that work. And we saw all of those teams slowly rise up and different scenarios coming in from both the community and content creators. But the Fire Knight, this has not been the same. And to close it off, I just want to show on how stupid it is on the 10th difficulty, right? I'm not going to show you, well, the 9th difficulty. The 6th one is easier. That's why I can farm it. The 9th one, look at this. Look at how many Cardiels you see in the teams of the week. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we don't see a Cardiel, but we still see 2 Void champions. Cardiel, Cardiel, Cardiel. Basically all of the teams except this one, where this one is the hero basically of the whole teams working. And I still bet that this team is not as fast as, you know, the top teams right here with Kruchaxa and Acrizia, and of course Cardiel because of the ally attack that he does. So yeah, these are my solutions, guys. I know it's kind of on the whiny side. I don't think I'm whining. I'm trying to see on how to make the game better. When you have a great deal of champions and basically know that a good 80% of them are useless because Plarium just wants you to be using all the good stuff all the time, then kind of makes no sense, right? Plarium, I hope you're watching this video. Consider maybe the solutions, do something on your own. The Fire Knight is not fixed 100%. I am sure of this. The Fire Knight has a problem and you should address it. And even if you don't want to do any of my solutions, just address the simplest fact, which is the champion's not using their skills when they're hitting the shield. There's still that issue in the game, by the way, after so many months. Anyway, guys, this was the video. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.